After Calabar, a new chapter awaited. The road ahead promised more of Cross River's hidden wonders. 6 hours later, we arrived in Ogoja, a place that felt like it carried stories of generations. On arriving at Ogoja, we didn't linger for long. Our next stop was Obudu Town, about an hour 30 minutes away. The journey stretched into the night, and by the time we arrived, it was too late to head for the mountains. We rested and continued the journey the next day. Fast forward to the next morning. We were thrilled to begin the journey ahead. The night before, my travel companion had ventured out for a walk, reconnecting with familiar faces. These connections will make navigating Obudu Town towards the mountains not just easier, but more eventful and enriching. As we set out for the mountains, the landscape of the town felt like an entirely different world. The scenery was mesmerizing, and in the distance, the majestic mountains came into view, calling us closer. As we proceeded, the indigenous riders shared some fascinating stories about the mountains, which I found really interesting.
Wow. So many things there.
After about an hour from Obudu Town, we finally arrived at the gates of the resort. On arrival, we noticed something unusual. The iconic cowhead statue, once a striking marker of the resort, was missing. We learned it had been blown away by strong winds and hadn't been restored yet. We completed minor security checks, got our pass card, and started off towards the top of the mountains from the bottom hill. Riding through this adventurous path, we could truly connect with the raw beauty of the landscape. The sweeping views of the mountains were absolutely stunning, and to our surprise, we spotted settlements scattered across the terrain. Seeing people living and thriving in these remote elevated regions was truly fascinating. As we rode closer to the mountaintop, the beauty became something else entirely, absolutely mind-blowing. At 5,249 feet above sea level, everything felt different. The air was crisper, fresher, like it could almost taste the purity of it. And the views? Oh man, I fall a little bit short of words to describe this wonder. After taking in the breathtaking views up the mountains, we finally arrived at the resort. As I stepped off at the reception, I saw that my shoe had been burned by the motorcycle's exhaust. I must have been too caught up in the thrill of the adventures to realize it earlier. The media had painted a picture of neglect for the resort and Cross River State's tourism. While some parts were indeed worn down, arriving here told a different story. The resort was very much alive, with many well-maintained areas still standing strong. As we headed towards the mountain villas, we noticed some parts needing attention, but we also saw ongoing construction. A clear sign that the current administration is committed to revitalizing tourism in the state. We had hoped for a proper tour of a well-furnished mountain villa, but most were occupied due to the festive season. During this period, a room starts as from 40,000 naira per night. As we made our way to the presidential villa, it became clear why it's one of the most sought after spots. The views from that elevation were simply transcendent. The presidential villa was designed to host visiting presidents during their stay at the resort. However, it's been a long time since it served that purpose. As I walked around the presidential villa, I noticed bullet markings on the supposedly bulletproof windows. Turns out former President Obasanjo himself fired at them during the commissioning to test if they were truly bulletproof, and they held up. After sightseeing at the presidential villa, we had no plans to stay the night, and with no accommodations booked, we had to leave. It was getting late and the journey back to Obudu Town was quite a distance. Still, living wasn't easy. The views were mesmerizing and it felt like a place you'd never want to leave. On our way down, we stopped at the cable car center. The cars haven't been operated for years, first due to the workers' strike, and now, even if the workers returned, major repairs would have to be needed as the cables were already falling apart. We stopped at a spot known as the Devil's Elbow. Though it is unclear if it's the whole road or just this part, The name was coined from its sharp and scary turns. The entire road was once used for a mountain race that ran through the whole resort with competitors from across Africa. I remember watching it on TV many years ago, dreaming of being there myself. Hopefully, with Cross River tourism picking up again, the race will return in the near future. We didn't get to see the serene waterfalls and canopy walk as we were running against time. However, we will be back again to experience it all. If you enjoyed this kind of content, make sure to like and subscribe. There's more exciting stuff coming your way on this channel.